and you're watching Focus Forward. You know, we've all gone through a really tough period over the last 5 or 6 months, and probably a little bit before that as well. The economy was tanking, things were not great, but I think we all moved into 2020 thinking this is a great year and we are going to do things. And then, of course, we were hit by COVID. And we've had to adjust and adapt and do all sorts of strange things just to keep our heads above water. I never thought I was a salesperson. What have I been doing? I've been selling stuff. I've been selling masks and things. So, I mean, that's really out of my comfort zone. I hated it, but hey, we had to do what we had to do. But there's something that I want to talk to you about today, and that is I don't know about you, I feel like I am a rebellious teenager at the moment. Why do I say that? Because I look at these laws, at what the government has put in place around COVID, and some of them make absolute sense to me, and don't for a moment think that I'm not COVID conscious or that I'm really aware of what we need to do. But what worries me is the way some of these laws have been implemented. And I'm talking about the cigarette ban, the drinking ban, etc. And you know, that made me feel like a rebellious teenager because, like all good teenagers, of course we need boundaries and structure in our lives. And in a state of disaster, as we have been and still are, we do need to have those new laws and those new rules that we have to live by. But what had got to me is a lot of them didn't feel like they were just laws. Let me unpack that a little bit. So, for example, as a teenager, if your parents say, right, you have a curfew, you have to be in by, what's the first thing you want to do? You want to break that curfew. It makes you feel disempowered because it's something that you were not part of. Same with drinking, smoking, all of that. I mean, these are classic teenage acting out issues that we all deal with. And we haven't been able to deal with those. We had no input into what was being said and done. For the main part, of course, we agree. We needed some social distancing. The first 5 weeks or so of lockdown, most people really got in there and did their thing and all of that. But it was coming out of lockdown and that first initial lockdown period where I think the wheels started falling off, to my mind. And what did we do? What did we do about that? We started buying cigarettes on the black market. I had a lovely experience a little while ago where I was out with friends. This was in a good level where you were sort of allowed to be there. And somebody said, my dealer's arriving. And I thought, oh my gosh, a dealer's arriving. What does that mean? Well, the dealer arrived with 3 bottles of wine and 2 packets of cigarettes. This is our new world, Marijuana has been made legal and suddenly booze and cigarettes aren't. What can we do about it? The other point of what I find has been a bit unjust around all these laws, etc., has been the fact that I think our parents are fighting. In this case, who are our parents? Well, there's Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma, who is leading the government's response on this, and of course the president. And there was that famous incident where the president said that, I think it was smoking would be allowed again, and 2 days later, Dr. Dlamini-Zuma said, no more smoking. And that just causes a lot of rifts, a lot of upset. Just yesterday, I don't know if you guys all saw the Twitter storm that was going on about, oh, they're going to stop us buying alcohol again, go out to buy, stock up, etc. This is all not real. It was hoax. It was fake news, as a certain president would say. But the point is, it causes a whole lot of our rebellious nature to come out, just like teenagers. You tell a teenager one thing, they're going to push the boundaries to do another thing. That's how I feel, and I know certainly a lot of my friends feel the same way. But what do we do about it? And I think that's what the important thing is. Our cognitive brain always says to us, yes, we understand that we are facing a pandemic of literally global proportions, where we are the upshot of it is we could die from it. So what do? You have to take the precautions. And we think about that. We think, yes, absolutely, we need to take those precautions. But what we need to start doing for ourselves is just changing the narrative in our head around that. We need to say, okay, these are the new rules, these are the new laws, and this is our new reality. And I know we're all sick of this new reality and what we're doing. But we need to consciously make that choice that if we are feeling like that rebellious teenager, that we want to go out and break those laws, just let the cognitive brain just kick in and say, okay, is it really, really worthwhile going to have, I don't know, a braai with 60 of your closest mates and hope nobody gets caught? Or not? Is it worth still socially distancing where and when you can? When you in your office, at home, meeting with people, do you wear your mask if there are other people around, strangers that are not in your normal environment? So it's to just make that conscious decision. We are going to do just that. And I think that's really important. I think the other thing is we also have to be very aware that certain categories of people, and in this case it's generally the aged, are far more vulnerable. And I think we have to be very aware that if we have had a COVID exposure, which is still happening, I mean, even though the numbers are going down, we've gone, our second wave I think has come and gone, who knows, it may come back again. But if we've had an exposure, we need to be very careful around who we see and how we interact. And I think that's just the major point I want to put across today. Let's try and squash that rebellious teenager, and let's just get out there and put new guidelines for ourselves in place. Guidelines that we have thought through that are COVID compliant, and just see where our boundaries lie, because that to me is always important, because then we can buy in and live by those boundaries for ourselves. The other thing we have to do is also not shame people who are really COVID phobic, where people do not want to see you, they do not want to interact, they are still locked down. Respect those people. It's important to do that. And just go out there, be safe, and let's just start living our new life. I'll see you next week on Focus Forward. This has been great. Look forward to it.